quantify it and see how it might impact them as individuals. Now, of course, the entire world is connected together through the internet, and people who failed to participate weren't victimized by the change, but they didn't benefit from the change. And so that's the thing. I've heard some people say, well, I'm so concerned about artificial intelligence because it can displace workers. No, it's going to displace workers who don't learn how to use the new tool, and is going to create greater value to the workers, to the entrepreneurs, to the business people who learn how to use. And so it is opportunity for those who view it as such, and is there risk associated for those who don't? Of course, because those who do not act upon. Imagine yourself being in a analog world today when the entire planet has gone digital. That'd be challenging, wouldn't it? This is your chance to be in front of what I consider to be the next major change, maybe the biggest one of our lifetimes, the transition from obscure to popularization of artificial intelligence. And we at Lev AI bring it to you, put it at your fingertips, and we do it in such a way that you'll see in a few moments, a complete one-stop shop, simplifying what we believe is already occurring. It's happening now, the gradual integration of AI into the global economy, and those people who provoke that move, not who simply observe it, but those who provoke the move. One thing I learned a long time ago, it's not about making something happen. It's about identifying those things that are going to happen anyway, and then becoming a catalyst that causes that which was destined to occur just a little bit more quickly. And as we go through our conversations today, and as you go through your conversations the next few days, at each interaction, stop and ask yourself, is it going to happen with or without you? And the answer is pretty clearly and obviously yes. And because you do anything to stop it, the answer is clearly obviously no. Therefore, the question is, can you leverage it such that it makes a positive impact in your life as a result of making positive impact in the lives of others you introduce to it? My answer to that is yes. Welcome, Blake Schrader. This, of course, is a fun one for me. Blake is my son. He was announced as the president of this company just a couple of days ago. And I'm smiling broadly because, of course, Blake grew up in a network marketing home, and he grew up and he saw and experienced all that it can be when it does right, when the planets align. Blake entered the conventional business world as an attorney. That was the direction, the path that he chose. Went to Syracuse Law School and became an attorney. Practiced as a litigator for a short period of time, and then was attracted to and was hired by Monavie, where he became associate general counsel. After a period of time there, he was then asked to move to Israel. And the reason he moved to Israel was so that he could become the general manager of Monavie in Israel. And that was an amazing experience for me and for Blake. Me growing the business amongst some incredible Israeli counterparts, and Blake creating the foundation, creating the framework that would allow success to occur. And boy, did it happen. That then transitioned into further roles at Monavie for Blake. He's fluent in Portuguese, both the Brazilian version and the Portugal version of Portuguese. And he moved to Portugal, where he became the general manager of Monavie Europe for a period of time, ultimately had responsibility for all of Latin America as well, and basically for all of the company. Blake's next big success was when he became the CEO of Medical Marijuana Incorporated. And this for me was very, very instructive, because when Blake got involved with Medical Marijuana Incorporated, they launched a direct selling company called Canaway. And of course, Blake wanted me to do it with him. That was a problem for me. Why? Because part of my life experience is that for a big part of my life, I was literally crippled in drug addiction and alcoholism. And the idea of me being involved in a cannabis company was just way down there. But why was it way down there? Well, it was because of ignorance. What is ignorance? It's simply a lack of knowledge and understanding. I didn't know that there were big, big, big parts of what could come out of that plant that would be beneficial and that would not have a psychoactive or the possibility of intoxicating. Well, we were there as we transitioned from something that was very, 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 it was controversial, it was unknown, it scared some people, it excited some people. The thing that I found is, as soon as I began engaging in those conversations, I was joining a conversation that was ongoing. I want to say that again. I was joining a conversation that was ongoing. As soon as I started talking about non-psychoactive cannabis, I started talking about cannabidiol. What I found out was that the whole world was already talking about cannabis. They just weren't talking to me. Well, not so long ago, going back to about, September of last year, I realized that I was a little bit behind the curve in this next major move on planet Earth, in my estimation, that being the global integration of AI. And when I started talking with people about it, what I found to my amazement was that they were already talking about it. They just weren't talking to me. And so when I say welcome to Blake, I'm welcoming a seasoned executive. I'm welcoming a person who has knowledge and experience in growing businesses of substance. I'm welcoming a person who has knowledge of how to guide a company through the processes from a startup to mid-size to large. And I believe that we will create together with Blake and the other management people on the inside, us as participants on the outside, a unique partnership where we have mutual trust and respect one for another, and where we build something that can stand the test of time. I see this as hopefully, I see this as one of your big days. I know for a fact it's one of mine, and I know that it's one of Blake's. Here's the agenda, folks. AI is the future, and the truth is it's right now. We'll describe the Lev AI mission and vision, the Lev AI solution, the various problems that now exist, leveraging artificial intelligence. Leverage, what does that mean? I think of financial leverage, borrow money to buy an asset. If the asset goes up in value, that borrowed money, that leverage, that financial leverage can put a multiplier on the upside. It also has a very, very sharp downside if the price happens to work against you. We're talking about positive leveraging, where only good can occur. Nothing bad can occur. Leveraging artificial intelligence. Leverage meaning being able to participate as a result of the efforts and the successes and the behaviors of many, not as just one's own. Leveraging AI. He'll describe today the features and plans, earning with Lev AI, and claiming your spot, taking action. And folks, I want you all to know I'm almost giddy this morning because a couple of days ago, in Blake's first introduction to the company, he lobbed the ball across the net and he talked about a proposed timeline. And he said something between 2 and 6 weeks. I said, wow, 2 weeks, that's pretty close. And that was a couple of days ago. Folks, you're going to be happy. You're going to be really, really happy because the day is going to come later. It's come sooner than you're thinking. I talk about the fact that I'm entering a conversation, as are you, that is ongoing. And it's not just a conversation among the unsophisticated. It's not just a conversation among those who tend to get caught up into the hype of the day. Now, here we have Mr. Pichai, who is the CEO of Google. And what does he say? AI, artificial intelligence, is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past, Here is one of the most brilliant minds on planet Earth, guiding one of the largest companies on the planet, stating that this is more profound, that this concept is more profound than anything we have done in the past. How high is up? How big is the possibilities? How great can be the impact on your life and the lives of others? More profound than anything we have done in the past. And here we have Misha Kaufman. I don't know Misha, the CEO of Fiverr. And what he says is people using AI will displace those who are not. And if you don't sharpen your knives, you're going to be left behind. I think that that's accurate. I don't know, Misha Kaufman, because I'm such an extraordinarily optimistic, positive person, and I want to create positive attitudes in people, as opposed to the negative side of this. If you don't sharpen your knives, you're going to be left behind. People using AI will displace those who are not. Let it be that each one of you say, I will not be displaced because I will be among those who become knowledgeable and who can guide others into it. Therefore, I will not be displaced, but in fact, my value will go up. And as opposed to if you don't sharpen your knives, let it be that you join me in this idea. I am sharpening my knife such that I can assure that no one who is important to me in my life is left behind. And thank you, Misha Kaufman. And here, Dr. Peter DeWitt. AI offers a powerful means to assist leaders to de-implement low and no value practices. I'll comment on that for a moment. Over the course of my career, I've taught that there are only 4 revenue producing activities in this direct selling business. And of course, we now have the opportunity to deliver a product, a technology that will dramatically change the footprint of this industry. Over the course of my entire 35-year career, I've come to understand that there's 3 or 4 or 5% of the global population that have embraced direct selling. And frankly, we inside that universe have been talking to each other for the last 3.5 decades. Now, for the first time in my career, the first time in your career, the first time in our careers, we have the opportunity to re-leverage our own knowledge, skills, and experience to put a new higher value on everything we've learned how to do, because suddenly, for the first time in my career, and therefore predictably in yours, we have a mechanism, we have a product idea, a concept that will appeal to countless tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people. who would not embrace the direct selling business model. Something quite different. But I've described the fact that there are 4 revenue producing activities. The first one, learning how to live our lives in such a way that our candidate list grows in front of us. That's a revenue producing activity. The second revenue producing activity is knowing what to say and knowing what not to say, so that our candidate opens their eyes, their ears, and the hearts, the possibility. And the third revenue producing activity is to present the product of the business in such a way that another person can see themselves doing it, that it can duplicate. Well, those are the revenue producing activities. And then it goes beyond that. If we want to create wealth, not simply generate income, then we must become skillful in developing and in owning and expressing leadership attributes. And then the real reward is reserved for those who transfer that leadership value to other people. And then he says, if we do that well, that will free the time for human interconnectedness. I believe that so completely. I met with one of the really, really prominent figures in our direct selling industry, maybe one of the biggest earners in history, about a decade ago. And we were in Warsaw, Poland. And after my presentation that day, it was a training. He said, Randy, conceptually, the concepts that you've delivered are so correct. And I said, I've never heard somebody deliver them differently or better than you have. But he said, Randy, if you want to go from being good to great in this industry, if you want the lid to come off completely, then what you must do is find a way for people to understand who you are as a human being. And here again, Dr. Peter Witt said, what? Freeing time for human interconnectedness. Now, I would like to tell you that I embraced that teaching that day and acted upon it. I began trying. The truth is that it was when my part of my life experience is that I struggled with drugs and alcohol for quite a while. I've now been drug and alcohol free for a long time. And part of that program of recovery taught me how to connect with human beings on something other than a financial level. When each of us have a mechanism that will cause others to focus their time and attention more effectively and profitably on the revenue producing activities of their enterprise, freeing time for human interconnectedness, that human interconnectedness will wind up having more to do with the revenue increase than the knowledge and skills outside of the connection. That's been my own personal experience. One of the things that I've observed in my life is that change is sometimes good, change is sometimes bad, and change is sometimes fun, sometimes it is not. One thing that change should not do when it's positive change is create the reaction or the emotion of fear. That emotion of fear is an emotion that reduces productivity straight across the board. Understand this. This is something that is happening. It's not something that is going to happen. 61% of professional marketers are using AI today. However, they are using it ineffectively and inefficiently. We are shortly going to welcome them to Lev AI. 38% increase in sales productivity. AI-enhanced CRMs turn data into action, allowing entrepreneurs to close more deals with less effort and better confidence. Lev AI, I believe, has the capacity, as we develop a leadership group inside the delivery of this technology, this all-in-one suite, which you'll learn about. We're going to change that number. It's not going to be a 38% increase in sales. It's going to be much, much higher. It says 88% of entrepreneurs say AI gives them a competitive edge. Folks, that's going to go to 100% if they get engaged in it the way that we teach it. Lev AI makes it simple for entrepreneurs to launch, market, and grow businesses. When I read that, what am I? I am an entrepreneur. I've spent my entire life doing what? Launching, marketing, and growing businesses. And when I look at the possibilities as I begun to experience and interact with the technology, it is my belief that this will make it simple for those who already have the basic knowledge and skills required to grow businesses generally. It will make it simpler for them. It will make it possible for many who are entering the world of entrepreneurship for the first time and don't yet have well-developed and refined knowledge banks and skill banks. No expensive chief marketing officer, no agency, no complicated tech skills are required. Lev AI is the companion for all things you need in your business, made easy and better with AI. What is then the mission? To empower the foundation of tomorrow's economy to build professional-grade businesses with seamless AI-powered tools. Folks, whether you are seeking to grow and develop a real estate business, whether you're seeking to grow and break into legal practice, whether you're seeking to be the new dentist on the block who becomes the preferred provider, understand this. There is someone else who does what you do. Is that or is that not true? There is someone else who does what you do. There may be someone else who does it as well as you do. There may even be someone who does it better than you do it, and there might be someone who does it at some cost advantage. The question is, how will you separate yourself such that you become the preferred provider, given that someone else does what you do? welcome to Lev AI. We absolutely believe, I'll take it past that, not just believe, I know that we can help you separate yourself from the crowded field of others who intend to offer similar services. We can highlight the uniqueness that is you, that is your offering. We can highlight all of the possibilities that become available to your candidate. The problems, LI, that Lev AI solves are several, and all social entrepreneurs face these problems: complex, costly, fragmented marketing tools. Upon first sticking my toe into the possibility of beginning to access AI back in the fall of last year, what I saw was such a convoluted, complex series of solutions where one would be asked to buy this app, this app, this app, these various subscriptions, a different one for CM, a different one to build the website, a different one for your social media presence, a different one, on it goes. Folks, we intend, we plan, and we will deliver way sooner than you might be thinking an all-in-one solution at dramatic cost savings and at superior effectiveness. The other challenges that people face: tech intimidation and burnout. Certainly that's true of my generation, less true of a younger crowd, but nevertheless a fact. And poor lead generation. I look back over the course of my career and I now realize that I have been derelict in my leadership responsibilities in some respects, simply because for me, the creation of a candidate list has just simply not been one of the hard parts for me. That's because of my particular personality. I realize now over the course of my career that I failed to recognize that other people whose capacities were equal to mine, maybe greater than mine, um, could have had greater success, but they didn't have that one characteristic that made others tend to walk towards them. Some people walk into a crowded room, and for too long they're surrounded by other people and they are the focal point. For them, creating a candidate list is relatively easy. For all of those who are either in the circle or standing over against the wall, that can be the thing that stops them from succeeding. I didn't learn to teach other people. I didn't need to. That was a mistake. Now we will shortly introduce to you a tool which makes that possible for you, literally you and everyone in whatever kind of an organization you'd want to build will have access to a literally never ending supply of candidates who would seek to have our information. And of course, until Lev AI, there is no clear guide on how to grow the audience, convert leads to businesses, and keep it all moving forward. Here's the solution: makes building and maintaining a candidate list far easier. Notice it said easier. I'm glad it says easier, not easy, because it's not easy. But folks, over the course of my life, what I've discovered is that to grow a candidate list, all I have to do is listen more and talk less. I have to be cognizant and aware of what other people want, not what I want. There's so much to it, but it's so counterintuitive. The human experience, the basic human nature is what's selfish and self-centered. What's in it for me? Until such time as I'm able to quiet that background noise, when I contemplate and consider what's in it for me, the answer will always be not much. When instead I have the wisdom and grace to subordinate my successes to the success of other people, what's in it for you? If I focus on what's in it for you, then there's no limitation on what can be in it for me. But you know what happens is this: utilizing Lev AI to build a candidate list and to always keep that candidate list moving forward, to utilize your virtual twin, to utilize your own personal private version of a chat GPT in order to create a candidate list. This is a gift. This is giving those people who have long felt like they were walking through slowly drying concrete the ability to say, finally, this is for me, because I have candidates who want what we offer. It creates confidence about what to say in each candidate or customer interaction throughout the engagement process, and removes the barriers that have long caused so many to feel stuck. Removes the fear of failure. I'm not sure how it is that my own personality is a little bit different. I know that sometimes I will fail. Of course I will, because I'm going to continue trying new things. And what I found out is that I only need to succeed just a few percentage points more often than I don't. But to the extent that I am always trying new things, the extent that you are always trying new things, we will periodically have things that don't go the way that we want. This removes the fear of that failure because we can get in front of it. We can engage in behaviors that we know will create the right outcome. There's no reason to fear a failure. Number one, if we recognize and know that periodically they will come as we continue to try new things. But second, to go through a proven predictable pattern of activities that guides each candidate to the point of his or her logical conclusion. Folks, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. trying to identify what do other people want, what do they need, and then determine a way that we can help them get that I can or that you can. When we're guiding a person through a proven, predictable pattern of activities, allowing each to arrive at whatever is the correct point of logical conclusion for him or her, that essentially removes the fear of failure and results in the building of constant momentum. So here we have it, folks. This is, for me, an absolutely beautiful thing, almost magic. The Lev AI solution. Everything you need in one place made accessible. Social media presence and consistency. Once again, I have a modest social media presence, 5,000 Facebook friends and 10,000 business page followers and 25 or 35,000, whatever is LinkedIn. That's tiny. It should be a million for a guy like me who's done what I've done all of these years, but I never made a conscious decision to grow that social media presence. It just happened natural for me in the small way that it's happened. Folks, for you, for both your business and personal profiles, what you will shortly have is post creation, email creation, and every single time you do a post that was provoked and prompted by your virtual twin, you're going to learn all about that, or by your personal version, your own Chat GPT, as that acquires and it provokes the post and it provokes the content that results in a like. You know what? That person makes a like, and all of a sudden you're going to get a feed that shows a social media scan of that person. What are their hot buttons? What do they want to know? We must always be talking about what our candidate wants to know, not what we want them to know. That's what changes it. And this tool will cause it to always be that you are delivering the information that your candidate wants to receive. Customer relationship management, folks, really, really important. A CRM, literally a one-click screenshot import, and each time that candidate is imported or that contact is imported, guess what? The social media scanning is done, and you are then prompted as to what to say, when to say it, how to follow up. Every single time there's a comment or a like, boom, you're getting that feedback again, guiding a person once again through what? That proven and predictable pattern of activities, helping each new candidate arrive at his or her point of logical conclusion in the shortest possible period of time. And the websites, we've talked about this a little bit over the course of the last couple of days. It was a great fascination. I'm actually one of the developers that I met with when he showed me this a few weeks back, as it's sitting in there. It was complete fascination to me. He said, you can build a website in a matter of minutes, Randy. I can hardly turn on an iPhone without getting tech help. And so I can build a website, really? Yeah, 3 minutes. Click, click, click. About 7 clicks in, and that website was not just live, but published. And I'm not talking now about the sites that we will all have are self-replicating sites as a result of being a product promoter. No, we'll all have that self-replicated site that looks the same. Now, I'm talking about unique individual sites, something separate and standalone, as I have my personal website separate from my self-replicating sites, and it reflective of your personality. They don't all look alike. It is magic. And by the way, it costs you at least $1,000 to have something built, probably 3. It's part of the process. It's part of the program. It's part of what you're acquiring when you become a subscriber to the service. Absolutely amazing. The reminders to build your business. I'm thinking of Lev AI as a personal assistant. So my thought on this application is I do a new member orientation. If I were to enroll a new member today, I would do a new member orientation. And at the conclusion of that new member orientation, there would be some assignments, some action items. And the first action item would be to not just enroll, but to create a mental and emotional barrier of exit to replace the fact that one didn't spend $300,000 or $400,000 to get involved. What are we going to do when there's a bump in the road? What will cause us to stay engaged? Well, it's a mental and emotional barrier of exit that we printed out and read aloud. Well, on that very first day that we were given the assignment, too many times the next day the assignment doesn't happen. Too many times the next day the action is not taken, and that opportunity is lost because the person did not make a big investment. It's so easy to just forget. That's what's happened so many times in the direct selling industry. Maybe the first interaction wasn't the positive one. Maybe something provoked fear. Now, instead of that, what are you going to get? You're going to get a little text. Hey, you had a new member orientation yesterday, and today you need to send to your sponsor this. Have you done so yet? At that same time, I, your sponsor, am getting the text. Hey, send this to Tom. He needs to get this prompt. And there it is, written for me. Just push, push, push. Reminders to build your business. And here's the key. I'm always careful with a crutch, but there's 2 different ways that one might use a crutch. We could have a permanent disability, and I have great compassion for those who do. My wife's father is in a wheelchair. There are permanent disabilities, which need permanent mobility assistance devices. And then there are temporary disabilities, temporary inability to act because of injury. or in this case, inability to act because of lack of knowledge or lack of skill, or perhaps lack of character, and inability to act. Well, a crutch, every time we use that crutch, helps us act in spite of that insufficiency. But then someday, one day, the crutch itself causes the insufficiency to go away. Because as you've been taught the various prompts, it tells you, say this now, say this now, say this now. Before long, you know it intuitively, and in conversation, it is there for you, not simply when you're utilizing the technology. And the next big one, folks, a monthly leads program. I think over the course of my career, of the fantastic, amazing people who have joined me, who got frozen behind the wall of fear that is sometimes put up by this direct selling industry. Direct selling has a unique ability to provoke feelings of profound insecurity among even the most secure people. That is a truth that we cannot avoid. We should acknowledge it, we should embrace it, and we should do something about it. Is it or is it not true that it's easier to say, hi, I'm Randy Schrader, I'm an attorney. Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. I own a healthcare facility. Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. I'm a cardiac surgeon. Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. I'm a school teacher. Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. I'm a police officer. Society has decided all those things are good. Hi, I'm Randy Schrader. I'm involved in network marketing. Big parts of society have decided that's not good. Why? Because it is just born of lack of knowledge. I promise you this, folks. I got involved first in the network marketing industry because it was what was available to me. I've had a lot of success over the years. There are a lot of things available to me now. Today, I stay involved, not because it's what's available to me only. A lot of things are. I stay involved because I believe in the center of my being that when the fundamental principles governing direct selling are properly applied, that this creates not just the best way to generate income, but the best way to live. Too many people let that slip through their fingers. Can you imagine if every person who ever joined you was provided with contacts who had said, I want to know more? And they were given the filter in the screen. You get to pick which town, which nation, which state. You get to pick their age, their gender, their level of success or lack thereof in the direct selling industry, their education level. And they asked for information. Do you suppose that a person who would be afraid to contact someone that they know because of that insecurity, profound insecurity that provoked by the direct selling industry born of ignorance? What if we helped the person overcome those insecurities by acting first on people who had requested added information? And I've gone through each one of these bullet points. I think that when so many people over the course of my life have asked me if I could help them enroll a new member, sure, I can help you enroll a new member. But what people have so seldom asked me, as in, Randy, can you help me keep the ones I've got? Well, sure I can. How? By treating every single member, every single person who's already opted in as your most important candidate. Just that simple philosophy. But then, what if we were to provide them over 2 billion candidate file that they can search and access in a specified number available to them each month based upon their entry point into the business, based upon which product they purchase? I think that we can put a complete plug in the bottom of the bucket. We don't need to have a business to build a business of replacement. Over my entire career, I acknowledge I have built businesses of replacement. Enrolling someone today to replace someone that I enrolled 3 months ago with only relatively small percentage ever breaking through. I think something as simply as a lead generating program, giving people candidates to talk to in their early days, could completely plug the holes in the bottom of the bucket. And by the way, that monthly lead program, over the course of my career, I've been hesitant to utilize leads. Why? Because if a person pays for a lead and the lead's not great, they can become resentful. But what if there is no added cost? What if just part of what you get? Then it is only good, only beneficial, only constructive. But wait, there is more. Every plan, every one, includes your own AI twin. And folks, this is a bit of magic that unless you've been exposed to it, it's going to be hard for you to wrap your arms around. When you see your AI twin, it will be impossible even for you, the subject of that digital cloning, to ascertain, is it live or is it Memorex? And what you will see is that you can upload any kind of content you want. In my own case, I've spent 35 years gathering a bank of knowledge, which I've redelivered for decades. Leadership development, leadership content. You've done the same, and you can load all of that into your digital twin. Suddenly, this gives you the opportunity to deliver the message that's most important to you on a global scale, no longer limited to that tiny segment of society who happens to be able to be in the same room where you are at a given point in time, who speaks your same language and who is culturally similar to you. Teach it everything. I literally cannot wait to begin delivering my boot camp information. People asked me a number of years ago, Randy, what do you want? Well, I wanted Converse sneakers because that's what the cool kids wore. Randy, what do you want? Well, I wanted Levi's jeans because that's what the cool kids wore. That turned into, Randy, what do you want? Well, I want a Lamborghini because that's what the cool guys drive. And before long, I had all those things. And what I realized along the way was that I wanted people to see what I had because I wasn't very comfortable with what I am. One of the reasons I love the network marketing industry is it's caused me to learn, grow, develop, and become. Today, I'm really happy to have people see who I am. I'm really happy to have people see who you are. What you're going to find is that this tool will actually create better people. As it goes prompt, 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 it's teaching best behaviors. As we get best behavior drilled into our system, that in fact is refining our character. Most amazing thing. And now, as we're going through a period of growth as a result of utilizing the tool is letting us leverage AI to speak confidently in 150 languages. At this point, we're describing two packages. I don't know, but I think there's a strong likelihood that will be three on rollout. Your AI video twin, your likeness, your voice, speaking your script flawlessly in 150 languages. Amazing, really. And these presentations, I think, might become very, very short. They could become about 3 minutes long very soon because all the person has to do is see it in action. Once you see it in action, there really are no more questions, and there's not too much comment except, yes, show me how, let's go. Your own personalized GPT for written posts and emails. It learns your style, your communication, your voice. It creates copy literally in an instant. Folks, just that all by itself, the video twin, it's worth more than the product costs. The personalized GPT, that's worth more than the product costs. You'll see in both the basic and the pro packages, multiple profiles, or I think of it as multiple personalities. If let's imagine for a moment that you are a life insurance broker, an agent or a broker, and that you also are involved in direct selling. See, two very different kinds of dialogues, two different kinds of conversations. You're a physician and you're involved in a network marketing business, two very different kinds of conversations. With the basic package, one will have one personality. With the pro package, multiple personalities, multiple types of content loaded into it, such that you can have positive and correct, not vague, very specific interactions with different kinds of candidate bases, different kinds of relationships. AI-powered social growth. I commented a few moments ago that I think it was a mistake that over the course of my career, I never really broadened the playing field. I never really made a conscious decision to grow my social media presence. I today have, as I've described, a modest social media presence. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to turn my AI self loose into the social media world and to begin automatically acting for me over the course of every 24-hour period to grow that social media presence. The CRM, this is one of the things I find most beneficial. For many people, their net cost of product use will be less than zero. Why? Because if you're already using a CRM, in all likelihood, you will be able to replace it with the CRM included in this package. The client relationship management tool with simple screenshot entry, and it will automatically and immediately do what yours is not. It will scan all social media profiles, and it will help you interact positively and correctly with each person that you import. Instant web builder, I'm telling you, seven button, click, 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 matter of minutes, and it's remarkable. It says enhanced CRM, professional lead funnels linked to your site. Again, I've been derelict in my duties as a leader over the course of my career because I did not teach others how to grow social media presence. I did not teach others how to create funnels because it was not my personal need. That was an error. And here I find that error being overcome and immediately addressed by this technology itself. Searchable prospects, over 2 billion global profiles to keep your business growing for the long term. And for me, remember Cicero said so many years ago, the skill to do comes from the doing. Over the course of my career, I have never, not even once, I've not had a single person do all that is required to succeed, but do it poorly and therefore fail. Not even once. Never had a person do that which is required to succeed, do it poorly and fail. What I've had, unfortunately, are countless people simply not do that which was required to succeed. Why? Because they were frozen behind a wall of fear. Cicero said the skill to do comes from the doing. It is not about doing it well, it's about doing enough of it. When suddenly we have candidates who have requested information, now we get to develop the skill as we interact with candidates who have asked for information. This will grant access to success for those who have refused or been frozen beyond fear and not made enough contacts to develop the confidence to overcome the fear, such that it becomes effervescent. This, as I look with complete fascination and to some respects awe, I consider the legitimate possibility of the percentage of people who can successfully interact in this business going up by a factor of 10. Oops, and I'm being asked to get into this meeting. I'm here. I am being asked to move back in with the folks that I'm here visiting with. So I'm going to do this very, very quickly. Folks, there is absolute unmatched value. Levi replaces at least $300, maybe $800 in disconnected, hard to use subscriptions. The market opportunity, let's break out of the tiny segment of society who has embraced direct selling, and let's get into the gig economy. 2.15 trillion by 2033. Folks, there's 70 million freelancers in the United States. They need this product. 30 million non-employer businesses, they need the product. I am going to, for the sake of this conversation, because I was just notified that I need to get back into the meeting that I stepped out of to talk to you. And so I'm going to skip past the comp plan information right now, except to tell you this. Slightly, well, let's just call it 50% of cash. 50% of cash will be attributed to the compensation plan. It is a very simple, easy to understand, and easy to access unilevel. It is a unilevel that pays on 8 generations deep. It has a very aggressive front end first generation payout to meet the needs of those people who are influencers. We know that a unilevel will have volume falling beneath it very quickly and therefore has a very aggressive 4 percentage point infinity payout, guaranteeing that people who are preeminent leaders will be paid to connect with very, very, very deep people in the organization, and a 4 generation leveraged matching bonus. I remind you all, this is a pure cash-based compensation plan. If there's a single area of my greatest strength, knowledge, and understanding in the direct selling industry, it is compensation. And it is my belief that this will produce for you. Not talking about somebody else. This will produce for you to the extent that you're willing to gather a little bit of new knowledge. It's always needed. Develop a new skill or two, and perhaps become willing to knock a rough edge off your character if it exists, so that we can be in more positive association with more people more of the time. To the extent you're willing to do that, I believe that this little conversation we've just had, this might be one of your big meetings. And I'm about to walk back into my 8th big meeting. Very, very, very clear to me that that's what's happening here right now. Folks, I want to read you. I'd like to tell you my telephone number. Don't call me. But if you're not yet receiving the messages on WhatsApp, so you don't know what's going on calendar-wise, please text me. My number is 813-990-7651. I will add you to the WhatsApp group. If you have not yet registered in the online enrollment form, there is no cost associated with that right now. Please register today. Notify whomever invited you here that you'd like to receive that. And folks, I'm not here making a company announcement. I'm not doing that. I will let the company make their announcements. It is a very short few number of days between now and the 1st of September. Write it down and say you heard it here first. These are critical, critical days. The days between today and September 1 are very, very important days. September 2 will not be like September 1. These are important days. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time, I encourage you, I implore you, be here at 9 o'clock Eastern, and be here not just with 1, with 2, with 5, with 10. Let it be a sprint, folks. The handful of days between now and September 1st, these are important days. God bless you all. This is better than I said. I apologize I had to be brief. I've got some folks waiting in there, and this is very much like $1,000 waiting on a dime. With them, they're waiting for me, and so I need to get in there. Everybody, I want you to know I'm your greatest advocate, and I have only an objective to help you win and win big in this business and in life. God bless. I'll see you this evening. Bye-bye.